over the years, and climate change has had severe impact on the way that we live and the things that we do on this very continent, that's Africa. Sadly though, most of our legislation and most of the research that we have done in the continent has not really matched up to the adverse effects or the impact of the adverse effect that climate change has had on the continent. And this impact runs across so many countries. The group that, in our opinion, is most affected, you look at children, the youth, and those who are, in a way, in a sense, who are going to feel the consequences, or would do feel the consequences of this, of climate change now, and will, of course, feel it again in the future. Which led us to this wonderful event that we are planning now, which will start soon, today the 17th of November, and then we'll run through to tomorrow the 18th of November. Our aim here is just to hype issues around climate change, to highlight the impact of climate change, especially as it affects the youth and children, and to bring in the youth in particular to capacitate them on how to find measures to mitigate the impact of climate change, both in advocacy, academic literature, and in litigation as well.
I'm Vanessa Nzimande, an environmental management student at the University of South Africa. I'm currently the focal point for the African Youth Commission, which is it's a consortium partner basically for the African Activism for Climate Justice, and I'm based in South Africa.
My name is Tristan Meek. I'm from the South Durban Community Environmental Alliance. I work as a youth mobilizer and a media project assistant.
My name is Rwandenyeni Ropiwa. I come from Thohoyandou, Limpopo. I am here at University of Pretoria to attend a natural justice seminar about climate change on behalf of Dzomalamupo.
My name is Chesty Letoy. I'm from a small community on the west coast called St. Helena Bay. I'm here because I'm worried about our oceans. Our ocean is currently under threat by these big corporations from across the borders who want to propose seismic testing in our waters.
My name is Raymondilov. I work for Natural Justice. I'm a cello. I got involved in the climate movement because I was getting poor services delivery by the municipalities.
Coming from the Western Cape West Coast region, I'm currently a community environmental legal officer working for Natural Justice. I work around working with indigenous communities, the so-called termed Khoi and San people in South Africa. And my work is helping the communities in terms of the governance structures, because within the context of South Africa, the constitutional law doesn't recognize indigenous communities as a customary community within South Africa.
Every month, there's a new company doing environmental impact assessments with community participation, but I have a big problem with these community participation meetings. These meetings are in English and often in language in Afrikaans that we don't understand. The public participation meetings are not properly regulated, and this is a big problem for me. For oil and gas to be explored in our community will devastate not only our income, but will also devastate the very fiber and essence of the community.
So what happened is I live in a rural area, and the municipality refused to collect the waste. The municipality, when I went there to the office, they just basically told me that because you're not paying for the service, you're not getting the service delivered, because the services are only for paying people. And they don't keep in mind that the people living in those communities are people that work for minimum wages, and some of them are unemployed. The roads are bad, the sewage pipes are leaking, and the waste don't get collected on a regular basis.
In South Durban, we are currently surrounded by two of the biggest petroleum industries. In the Southern Hemisphere, we have one of the biggest storages petroleum storages and chemical storages in the southern hemisphere in the Island View storage facility.
Fighting the segregational laws of South Africa, the two currently hindering the communities in terms of the human rights. It's the one for the Land Restitution Act, Act number 22 of 1994. The indigenous communities of South Africa in terms of the Khoi and the San was being deprived from their lands from the Dutch, the British colony and the apartheid government. So that segregational law is not actually helping the landless communities where we work with in that area, and the communities is subdued to laborers on farms, which resulted to a lot of alcohol and drug abuse and violence. The second issue in terms of South African law that is hindering our people in terms of human rights access and accessing their climate justice is the Equity Act in terms of job opportunities, in terms of the triple BEE, in terms of employment opportunities, where the indigenous communities is again neglected in terms of getting real opportunities and secure jobs.
With the opportunities that I've been getting, I ended up liking the space, and then now individually I also just go out in communities and schools, primary and high schools, just to influence the youth and teach them about different ways that we can live a sustainable life.
I realized that no one is coming to save me and no one is gonna speak out about my problems if I don't. I decided that I'm gonna do it myself. So in doing so, I work closely with my community counselor now, and me and her have cleaned up like 2 dumping sites, and we are still striving to stop water leakages and the poor roads within the community, and also improve the service delivery from the municipality itself.
What we do at SETSI is we focus our projects, our campaigns to upbring youth and to educate youth on issues with climate change and sub-issues on air quality and oil and gas exploration, teaching them how dangerous these things can be to our country and to our future as well.
The things that we do at Dzomolamupo, we are mainly focusing on preserving indigenous knowledge or building seed banks. You know, we're also in the process of fencing certain rivers which are more prone to pollution, and we also work with our tribal leaders. We also encourage women to stand for themselves, by themselves, by giving them a piece of land so that they can farm and sell their products.
So what we want actually is to work in partnership with everyone who is willing to help us in terms of taking this battle forward for us.
In hope that we influence the government to put more effort in implementing climate-related projects, and those projects needs to benefit the youth and indigenous communities.
To turn away from fossil fuels and fossil fuel extraction and focus on renewable energy and sustainable futures for our youth. Because 60 years ago, 50 years ago, they had the best land, the best soil, the best beaches. And I feel now they're just more worried about wealth than worried about our future, our grandchildren's future. Will we have grandchildren in the future? Because that's the questions we try and ask.
I call on government, I call on organizations that can help us to stop seismic operations on the West Coast at the St. Helena Bay area. Whoever are the decision makers, to stand with us, fight with us, so that we can make sure that we can preserve our oceans for generations to come.
I feel that we need change immediately. We as the youth will make a big difference. We will continue to make a big difference, and we will refuse to to be.
Okay, cool. So to end off our conference these past 2 days, an activity we did with the participants was for them to put together statements in a group of a future that they would love to see. So they were putting together future slogans, and these slogans were put together in a statement that we are hoping to send to regional government departments, possibly the African Union, and it's basically a call or a cry from the youth, placing their demands before our leaders and calling for action for the climate crisis and for the generations to come.